thank you very much for taking the time. Congratulations on not only having a great concept of a movie, for getting it made and for getting it sold. How long was the process from going, I want to make this, to actually having it done and out into the world?
I mean, it was, I don't know, it's hard to say. Filmmaking is a minor miracle to get anything made. And it's definitely a few years. And with COVID, added on an extra year. But I think from conception to end, about 2 years when I pitched it, and it got, I got financed out of the Philippines, Signal Entertainment, to us putting it together in about a year and shooting it and then editing it through COVID and then premiering at South by Southwest last year. It was about 2 years.
Does the final product look exactly like what you'd conceptualized at the beginning?
I mean, more or less, I would say every film's a journey, and it's my first time directing, so I didn't know what was to come. I produced films, and of course I've been in a lot of films, but really helming the project, I had a lot of ideas. I wrote with my family, a lot of personal stories, a lot of things I planned that I want to do. We got a lot of those things in there. But I remember through some of my moments, I even reached out to the director, John Chu, who's a friend of mine, talking about some hardships, early in the game. He was like, listen, you got to let the film come to you. There's a lot of things you're going to plan, but the film is going to come to you, and just be ready, do the work, and be ready to listen to what's happening, and the film will come to you. And in a lot of ways, he was right, and it turns out the way it's supposed to turn out.
So was there some hesitation about you being the director?
There's no hesitation about me being a director. I think a lot of people rallied around me directing when I pitched the film, and I said I want to do a film with my brothers. And then when I said I'm directing, I think a lot of people, including Signal, everyone was excited. They were like, a lot of people were looking like, finally directing. We can't wait for you to start directing. I was like, oh, I didn't know you guys were waiting for me to direct something.
Well, sometimes you find that the person's only directing because somebody backed out in the 11th hour. They just were like, yeah, I just want to write it. I don't want to be on camera. But in your case, directing it, guiding the production process of it, and being on camera, I have to imagine very intense process, because you also have family involved. Yeah. I can't imagine how hard that was.
Well, it's very hard. There's a lot of hoops to jump through, a lot of hats to wear. I could not have done it without my family. I really leaned on all them individually and collectively to kind of help get me through this, as well as really strong producing partners. My producing partner, Ron Erickson from The Machine. We've been through a journey getting this together. We went in and out of the Philippines 14 times in 2.5 years setting up this film. So, it's hard. It's a hard thing to make. The reason why a lot of people don't make movies, or so many movies, because it's really hard to make a movie and very hard to direct and act. So, like I said, it just takes a village. It takes a family to make a movie.
It takes a family. Was the whole family on board, or was there one sibling who went, oh, I don't know?
No, they're all on board. I mean, we worked together for over 30 years, and we've ups and downs as people and as artists, but we're still family. But I think at this point in our life, in our careers, everyone was really just along for the journey and for the adventure. And I do feel honored, because I'm not the oldest. I'm the middle. I'm third of 5, and how everybody kind of trusts me and my vision ultimately to lead what's going on. As you know, as a lot of people know, make movies is not about it. There's no one person doing everything. It's a lot of people doing things, and at the end of the day, I may make the final decision on a lot of things, and have some responsibilities. But no doubt, it takes everybody to make this movie.
Did you know that this was going to be the title of the movie, or is that a working title that just stuck?
Oh, no, I had it titled that from Jump Street. I mean, it was called The Fabulous Filipino Brothers. I knew I wanted to call it that. Me and my brothers have been working together for so long, and I being a sibling, and love brothers being in movies together. Mm-hmm. I want to say Filipino in the title, because I just wanted to really tell a story about us, and wanted to really accentuate that and not really kind of hold any elusiveness about that. This is who we are. This is what I want to say. And again, people went along with it. And I do have a knack sometimes, when I work, especially with Ron, my producer partner, we come from, he's one of the founders of Maker Studios, and he's a part of the whole digital media movement. So we've been very steeped in marketing and how to make things move, and we know when something kind of rings right there, we hear it like, oh, that sounds awesome, and we went with that. So the Fabulous Filipino Brothers, but it was inspired by different things. I think the Fabulous Baker Boys with the Bridges Brothers and things of that nature. I just find it really fascinating to see real siblings on the screen. The Wilson brothers. There's like so many different. The Barrymores.
I like the Murray brothers, but I don't think I don't think there's been a movie where all the Murray brothers. Like usually you get 2 in a film. You don't get like 6.
Exactly. So you gotta get them all to get an event to get all of the siblings together. It's great.
Fair. Well, being from New York, 1 in 10 people you meet have Filipino heritage, but you're originally from Pittsburgh. I can't imagine that there was a big population growing out. You really must have been a rarity out there, your family.
No, actually, Pittsburgh is a big Filipino population because the way Pittsburgh is, it's on the coast. It's a suburb of San Francisco. It's a little town. And the elders that kind of settled the town were a bunch of World War II veterans, including my grandparents and all of his, compatriots, which included a lot of Filipino soldiers, Army and Navy, but also African Americans, Latinos, and Italians, and that was the makeup of the town. And so, being Filipino in Pittsburgh was like, we had our own kind of like whole. My uncle was the mayor of the town. My other uncle was a fireman, policeman. So that's kind of how we grew up.
I have to say, in the last 10, 15 years, we've seen like 1 in 5 people who make it in entertainment have some level of Filipino heritage, Dave and Demi Lovato, yet we didn't really see that in the past. We just saw like Lou Diamond Phillips. That's it.
Yes. I mean, I always say if you took all the Filipinos in the world, you couldn't fit us back on the island. There's no way we're not going to fit back on the island. But it's a beautiful culture. It's a culture that, we talk about in the film. It's been kind of colonized over the years from China to Spain to America. And part of that melting pot of what we are has kind of permeated throughout the world. And so it's Filipinos all over. There's a lot of mixing going on, and it's beautiful. We just, want to talk about some of the culture that we grew up with and put it out there.
Well, when did you start to notice that it was totally a normal mainstream thing that everybody knew about Filipino culture? Would you say 10 or so years ago that Jollibee, how do you say it, Jollibee or Jolly?
Yeah, Jollibee.
Once it started taking a foothold of LA, once Batista rose through the ranks, was that it?
I think Batista, I think Manny Pacquiao.
Sure.
There's certain things, parts of my career kind of help lead up to it with Rufio and stuff like that. So it collectively started happening. I think Manny Pacquiao, Batista, Joe Coy killing in the comedy, and so many things happening. And so it's really cool. It's cool to be, because we're kind of again, like we fit in so many different boxes. When people look at us, it's like, okay, you're Asian, but you have Latino names. So like you have like a Latino heritage with the Asian heritage. We can kind of see almost anything. In my career, I've played every different Asian, all different kind of Latino roles, and that's beautiful. That's a beautiful part of our culture. We can kind of get in and fit in everywhere. But then there comes a time like where I think now where it's like let's tell our story too. Nothing wrong with it. It's great being a part of everyone else's stories, but we have a perspective also I want to talk about. Yeah,
you raise a really good point there. When Pat Morita, when he was just a stand-up comic, decades before his Mr. Miyagi, it was just a fill in the blanks. We need a warm body who can represent this hemisphere. That's what you do. And whereas now people, it's like, yes, I'm a Filipino actor. Yes, I'm a Filipino creator. And then people know what to expect. So I think it's fabulous to see that diversity and that inclusion has happened. And I'd have to imagine this was an easier movie to make and produce in 2021 than it would have been in, say, 1992. Off of your Hook success, it couldn't have been made.
Yeah, nobody knew what a Filipino was back in those days. Even after I did Hook, it was very, people had talked to me about my career, and I love the things I've done in my career, but people were like, what happened after Hook? And even my agents at the time, like, no one knows what to do with you. Like, you are wonderful, but we don't know what to do with you. And I was still able to carve out a career that I really love.
Yes.
But moving forward and where we're at now, there's so many more opportunities, you know, with the big bang moment of Crazy Rich Asians, and then with Parasite winning the Oscar and Squid Games becoming the #1 show in the world, we're seeing this whole era of Asians in pop culture media being the highest profile we've been in the history of Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And with the world, it's like, it doesn't take away from anything that happened in the past. It's just now authenticity matters more than ever. And the audience is so much more mature worldwide, and we understand that great stories are great stories and people are people, and we just want to see great stories. We don't care where it comes from. We don't even care what language it's in. We are mature enough to understand the connection of it, and a great story transcends. And so it's now about people telling their stories from their point of view. That's what we want to see. We want to see something that's more real.
You just said the magic words. Great stories are great stories. There you go. Magic right there. So when you finish a movie, to you have watched it so many times that it's old, but to us, it's new. Do you know what the next project is? Are you allowed to say, or are you under deadline.com embargoes?
No, I have a few things. I'm actually, after we're done with the tour of this film, when this film comes out, I'm shooting a new film with a director named Francis De La Torre. That's, I think it's called, there's a working title called The Trade, with my brothers again. And it's a departure from this one. It's more of a shoot 'em up kind of movie. And then I'm doing a rom-com in New York, acting wise, called Asian Persuasion, where I get to be my first time doing the lead in a rom-com with the director Jet Tolentino. So I'm looking forward to that. And then as far as producing, there's me and Ron Erickson, the machine, have a lot of things in development that are coming up, and also possibly something overseas for me to direct. So the whole thing continues.
It sounds like you continue to be so hard to define and pigeonhole, because you just mentioned a shoot 'em up movie, a rom-com. There's this movie. Sometimes you're the director now. Sometimes you're the writer, producer. Sometimes you're just the actor. So It sounds like you embrace that unpredictability and just good project by good project, one by one.
Yeah, this town has been, I've been in this town for 35 years, over 35 years now. And I had the good fortune to do a lot of things, to go from a breakdancer to an actor, from an actor to a poet to a writer, writing plays and then writing screenplays and then producing screenplays and theater, to ultimately now directing. I mean, for young artists out there, no one knows how this town works, man. You just got to figure out how you're going to do Hollywood. And there's some things that you choose and some things you go after, and there's some things that doors open, becoming a voice actor, and that changing the trajectory of my career also, and getting into great stories like Prince Zuko and Avatar: The Last Airbender. We don't know, but I've been fortunate to just, for, I guess, the Hollywood gods to look out for me.
So all that said, is there a role or a particular genre that you haven't yet done that you're still holding out for?
I don't know. I mean, rom-com's a big one, so I can't wait to see.
That's happening, so off the list.
Off the list. I mean, some action, some more. I like to get back to maybe some action or some adventure stuff. There's an action film we have like in on the slate that we may get a part of, and again, there's other big world building stuff that we're pitching out there. There's more things that I want to be involved in storytelling. I'm really into animation right now, even stuff that's happening in VR or video games. There's different kind of storytelling going on that's really impacting the world in strong ways, and we're involved in some of those things too.
Wow, so stay tuned. Just keep checking the IMDb page, keep checking deadline.com, etc., and we'll know. Well, my last question, besides the Fabulous Filipino Brothers, do you have a recommendation for a new show? If somebody said, hey, I just finished my last 4 shows in 5 days, I need a new show to start. Do you have one?
Arcane. So it's an animation project from Riot, based on a game called League of Legends. But if you're not a gamer and you don't know anything about animation, watch Arcane. This thing is intense and so sick.
Well, hey, thank you for the many years of great entertainment. Congratulations on your directorial debut. Hopefully a second movie with you as director happens in the near future. I'm really looking forward to whatever is coming in the near future from you and Team Dante.
Thank you, Darren.
Paltrocast.